Hi, it's Jake Irvin for IMTS TV. I'm here from the Advanced Manufacturing Center for today's Shop Talk feature. Today we'll be speaking with Mark Albert, the editor-in-chief for Modern Machine Shop magazine. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, Jake, and you?
Great, thanks for taking the time to speak with us.
Happy to do this.
Now, with IMTS being such a huge show, it's virtually impossible for any one person to adequately sum up all of the new technology that this show represents. So let's start with one of the most interesting things that you've seen on the show floor.
Okay, well, I think one of the striking things that's really caught my attention is the growing use of mobile devices on the shop floor. So things like tablets, the iPad, smartphones, iPhones, Android devices are really bringing a new level of the ability to do calculations and communications right on the shop floor, right at the piece of production equipment. So this is going to make it really important for us to look at some of the useful applications that are being developed for these devices. And that is something I'm seeing a number of exhibitors have developed those to highlight their products or make their technology available to users on the shop floor. A good example might be an application that lets a machinist look up the latest in cutting tool parameters to deal with maybe a condition that they didn't expect to encounter on the shop floor. And that's going to be available right there on that mobile device. Another example might be an iPhone that can read a barcode on a shop router and instantly connect to the shop's ERP system and make it really easy to enter cycle times, part counts, and other really important data. That data is instantly available on a network to authorized personnel, so that's going to make a real big difference in how we find out exactly what's happening on the shop floor in real time, and that's going to be a huge productivity gain.
Interesting. Mobile apps are definitely the future. Now, can you pinpoint some general trends that strike you as being particularly significant for manufacturers at the moment?
No, I sure can. You know, the one thing I see is automation, and I mean automation a couple of different ways. You know, one of the obvious things that we're seeing is a lot more use of robotics, part loaders, pallet changers, things like that that are making it possible for shops to do a lot of untended operation. You know, lights out operations, set things up in the evening, go home next day. There's another shift of work that's been finished. So that's an important part of automation. Another thing is the integral automation that we're seeing in the mill turn multitasking machines. So these machines are making it possible to do a lot of done in one, single setup. That's an important thing. And we're not just seeing these kinds of machines from the major machine tool builders, but even some of the smaller machine tool builders now have some sort of multi-spindle, multi-turret offering for their customers as well. Another thing about automation, though, is the ability to communicate data automatically is going to really make a big difference. I alluded that to a little bit before when we were talking about the mobile apps, but we're seeing more machine tools that are network-centric. You know, they're equipped with fiber optics and Ethernet capabilities, so they're going to be communicating directly to web-based networks. So a lot of the information about what's happening on that machine tool is now going to be available to almost anyone who is, has permission to authorize that information on some kind of web-based application. That's going to make a really big difference as well. You know, that said, I think it's kind of interesting. This same automation of data communication is making it possible for us to reinsert that human element even when we're operating in this lights out mode, because it's going to be possible for shop owners and production managers to dial up a machine on the web address and take a look what's happening inside the machine with a video camera and make some decisions and do this all remotely almost anywhere in the world, even though that machine is still operating entirely on its own in an automated mode.
Can you tell us about the most exciting thing you've seen in machining technology?
Okay, I don't think this is a show that's going to be characterized by some new development that we've never seen before. I'm seeing a lot of enhancement and improvements in the technology that's been at shows in the past, and those are very, very important developments. But some of the most interesting things are things that we've seen before, but are maturing and becoming even more practical or production ready. Cryogenic machining is one thing that comes to mind. We saw it at the last show for the first time, but Now it's available on new equipment. It can be retrofitted on existing equipment. It's got approval for some FDA and DoD applications. So this technology is really ready to take off. There's a hexapod here at the show. Now it was a big deal at shows quite a few years ago, but they're solving some of the issues with the rigidity of the parallel kinematic platform that may bring a resurgence to that technology that's going to have an impact on how we process parts. Additive manufacturing is another important trend here at the show. Again, it's not new, but what we're really seeing is how this technology is being integrated with other manufacturing processes in a way that are going to speed the whole manufacturing process. Additive is highly complementary to the traditional machining process that we're used to. It's just going to take on a life of its own. I think that's going to be a real change in the way we look at and imagine how parts can be produced.
What can you tell us about current trends in cutting tools? Are there any breakthroughs in that area that you see?
The cutting tool manufacturers continue to make real important strides in new insert grades, coatings, cutter body styles, things like that. And those advances are really important, but I can't pinpoint one thing that I'm saying, this is going to be a real breakthrough in cutting tool technology.
Okay. Now, computers, networks, and data systems are really a key component of manufacturing technology today. Did you see anything of importance in this area?
Sure. The CAM software developers are really doing a good job making it easy to program some of the advanced machining technology that we're looking at, particularly 5-axis machines, the multitasking turn mill machines. Programming these machines is no longer a barrier to using this technology in the average shop, really. That said, some of the developers are willing to admit that in some ways they've gone as far as they can go with what they can do with tool motions. What they've really got to look at now is how they can integrate some of the knowledge and expertise of, let's say, the cutting tool manufacturers, where they can work more closely with some of these cutting tool experts to make sure that not only is the tool motion exactly right for that particular part, but it's tweaked to match the specific capabilities of a particular grade of insert or type of cutting tool. And so we're going to see some benefits in terms of how quickly that NC program can be executed on the shop floor. That's an important thing too. A lot of the CAM developers are doing really important things with pocketing routines that have constant engagement for the cutting tool. So we're going to see some advances there in the ability to remove material on complex parts. We're seeing some changes in how people are approaching simulation. We're seeing a trend toward simulation of the actual G-codes inside the CAM software, and that's going to give us fewer iterations to get a perfect program, which means the first part on the machine is going to be good. Just a safer way to machine some of these very complex products, workpieces that we're looking at these days.
Wow, so it sounds like we're really getting some increases in efficiency and productivity as a result of all this technology.
Oh, yeah, we certainly are. Certainly are.
That's great. Now, as a bright spot in the economy lately, manufacturing has been doing pretty well, and as a result, it's been receiving a lot of attention in the news media. But aside from that, I think people are really waking up to the cultural change that manufacturing has and the cultural importance and societal importance of having a strong manufacturing base. How has IMTS 2012 changed your perception of manufacturing in America?
Well, one thing I'm really starting to rethink the idea that we think of manufacturing as a business of making things, discrete parts. But I think we really have to start seeing manufacturing as the fulfillment of ideas by the transformation of materials. So really, we're going to have to see that manufacturing is the direct connection between the designer and the end user, and manufacturing is becoming an increasingly short, direct, compressed link between those two. And that's going to make a difference in how we take advantage of manufacturing. The idea of mass customization, the ability to order a part online and it's produced on demand and then to deliver the next day. We're going to see more and more of that in terms of how the average person perceives and interacts with manufacturing.
Absolutely. A strong manufacturing base is crucial.
It's absolutely critical. It's critical to our lifestyle, the prosperity of our country. So we really have to make sure we pay attention to it and it gets the attention it deserves.
Now, everybody I talked to has had a great show so far, and they're really excited. How would you describe the mood among attendees and exhibitors?
Well, the visitors that show are clearly here in a buying mood. I mean, they understand that they need to invest in new technology. They have to have the equipment and the capability to take advantage of the business that's out there, and if they don't have it, they're going to lose out. So they're here, they're ready to spend money, they're ready to sign the purchase orders, and obviously, of course, the exhibitors are very pleased with that. They're having a great show. They're very optimistic about the future, and from all reports I hear, they expect strong sales to continue well into the future. You know, that said, there are some things that we have to worry about on the horizon. You know, the political turmoil in the Mideast, slowdown in China, the European debt crisis. These are all things that could have an effect on the progress of manufacturing in this country. You know, plus there's, you know, the polarization of our political parties and some of the troublesome issues that we're seeing and the changes in demographics of the country and lifestyles and things. These are going to be things that we have to think about. But overall, the mood at this show has been very positive. People are very interested in acquiring new technology and getting these machines in their shop floor so that they can take advantage of that business that's out there, reshoring. A lot of this is going to have to be met with new technology and new equipment. We have to have that ready as that comes back to this country.
Now, in your opinion, what makes IMTS 2012 the greatest place in the world for discovering new manufacturing technology?
Well, you know, one of the things that make this a great show is that it really makes you realize that you know, technology is really best understood as know-how. It's a power of the mind. It's about ideas. And this show really does a good job of balancing both the hardware and the software, the machines, the cutting tools, you know, that part of technology, but also the ideas. And I think a lot of people come to this show to be inspired, as well as to be informed. So they can come to the show, they can find out about new things, they can see what other people are doing, they can take advantage of the technical conferences, they can take advantage of the Emerging Technology Center. So there are a lot of things that are here to give people good ideas as well as access to an incredible array of new products. So this is just an exciting show. It's got a buzz about it that I think is unique. I mean, you just have to be here.
Absolutely. Well, Mark, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. It's been a pleasure.
It's been my pleasure, too. This is a lot of fun to do. Thank you.
From the Advanced Manufacturing Center in the West Hall of McCormick Place, this is Jake Irvin for IMTS TV. We've had a great show, and we look forward to seeing all of you at the next show at IMTS 2014.